My name is Trubridge. I'm from New Zealand, and I'm a free diver, which means that I hold my breath to go as deep as I possibly can, and it's a sport that I've been practicing for the last 12 or 13 years.
Why do you want to make such a documentary?
I was approached by a producer from ESPN, which is a sport channel in America, and they wanted to do a feature-length documentary on my attempt to be the first person to dive to 300 feet. Feet is a measure in American that's about 3 feet to 1 meter. So 300 feet is a significant milestone in America, and I was attempting to become the first human being to dive to that depth with no propulsion assistance. So it was billed as 300 feet, 2 bare feet, and 1 breath of air.
In the film, we can see you said you black out under the water. So do you know it?
Yeah, it happens, and when you're pushing your limits, when you're trying to go as deep as possible, it does happen sometimes in training or competition. It's something we try and avoid, but it's not actually as dangerous, or it's definitely not damaging to the human body or brain. So while it is something we try and avoid, it's not like a life threat.
Right now, do you feel scared when you're thinking about that blacking out?
Blacking out isn't like a painful experience either. It's like fainting, so you're just temporarily unconscious. And as soon as your safety divers bring you to the surface and blow in your face to stimulate the receptors, or just hold your head above the surface for a few seconds, you spontaneously come to. And within a few seconds you can be smiling and laughing again. So it's not anything which is...
There must be something difficult. Could you tell us what's the most difficult one?
The difficulty with freediving is in being able to tolerate high levels of carbon dioxide and low levels of oxygen. So you need to teach your body to move more efficiently, to use less oxygen in its movements, and also to tolerate a high level of carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
And as well as that, there's also the adaptation to pressure. So at 100 meters, you have 11 times the pressure that you do on the surface. Your lungs are crushed to 1/11th of their size, and you need to be able to still equalize your ears and air spaces. So that takes a lot of flexibility, concentration, and preparation.
So when you dive deeper, what do you think?
During the actual performance, I try not to think at all. So the perfect state is to be with an empty mind, but that, as we know, is very difficult to achieve. So rather than trying to push the thoughts out of our head, you just concentrate on the empty spaces between one thought and the next, and allow those to expand such that they gradually take over most of your attention.
Let's talk about Vertical Blue, the competition. So why do you want to hold that competition?
Vertical Blue is the competition we organize in the Bahamas. It's the biggest annual freediving event, and it attracts all the top competitors from all over the world to compete over 9 days of competition. So it's a really good format for people to go after national records or world records, because the conditions are so good and it's so easy to train.
Yeah.
But it's also a very fun and very social event. We have a lot of people coming back every year, so it's like a big family that reunites every year, and we dive together and eat together and have fun.
In many videos and also your Facebook, you always mention to protect the ocean. What projects did you join?
The 2 major projects that I'm involved with are the protection of New Zealand's Maoris and Hector's dolphins, which are very, very endangered. They are on the verge of extinction. And I understand that in China there's a dolphin that was lost in the Yangtze River, a pink dolphin, and we want to try and make sure that the Maoris dolphin doesn't go the same way. So that's one project, and the other is to try and do something about the huge amount of plastic which is entering into the seas, and especially in the Caribbean. There's some islands which are literally awash with plastic, and it's killing a lot of marine life, and it's getting into all the food chains, so it's doing a whole lot of damage which we don't even know about. So that, I think, is probably one of the biggest threats to our marine ecosystems, is the sheer amount of plastic. Now, I think just recently they've discovered that there is more plastic items, more pieces of plastic than there are actual living organisms in the sea, which is a very scary prospect.
Many places we can do free diving in all over the world. So, is there anyone you like best?
There's a few that I really enjoy freediving. There's, I mean, 70% of our planet is covered with ocean, but there aren't too many places where you have good conditions for freediving, easy conditions. Lack of current, no swell, warm water, clear water. So definitely the best place for conditions is Dean's Blue Hole in the Bahamas, which is where I live and train. And then some other great places would be Roatan in Honduras, Okinawa Islands in Japan. I haven't been to Southeast Asia, but places like Bali and Thailand and Philippines are supposed to be very good.
What's your attitude or opinion towards the death?
It's a tragic event for freediving for our community, because she was the best freediver who ever lived. And to lose someone so special to freediving is a real sad event. We still don't exactly know what happened to her. We can only speculate, and we probably will never really know what happened. But it's a reminder that the sea is a very volatile place, and even the strongest of us is still at risk when we go into the water.
What do you think of free diving in the future?
It's definitely an expanding sport. Scuba diving seems to be stagnating or retracting, whereas freediving is enjoying a boom. And there's a lot of different schools all over the world who are offering courses. Competitions are starting in many different locations. So I'm very optimistic about the future for the sport, especially because it's an ecological sport, in the sense that it has a very small footprint on the environment. So that's great for the current situation with the planet, where we want to be having practices that put us in more intimate contact with nature and also help us to preserve the environment.
As a beginner of freediving, do you have some advice for us?
The main thing when you're beginning freediving is to concentrate on improving your technique, and you will go a lot further in the long run by working on moving more efficiently and being more efficient in the water, rather than trying to achieve a certain depth or a certain time. If you're focused on the numbers and the actual performance, then you will always keep the same bad habits and techniques, and you may make good advances at first, but in the long run you won't go as far. So I would focus as much as you can on improving your technique in the water.
Is there anything you want to say to Banff China and the Mountain Festival World Tour?
I think it's great that the Banff Film Festival isn't just doing mountaineering films and is expanding into the oceans as well, especially because the oceans make up so much of our planet. So I think that's great to see. They've really done a great job with the alpine films, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do in the underwater world too. 见圣探信人生，既设生命意义，下设
宝宝了，
宝宝了，
再那个。
下设宝宝了。